President Obama is no stranger to Congressman Paul Ryan. The two have butted heads before in several high-profile encounters, including a bipartisan health care summit at the White House in 2010.
We are all representatives of the American people. We all do town hall meetings. We all talk to our constituents. And I've got to tell you, the American people are engaged. And if you think they want a government takeover of health care, I would respectfully submit you're not listening to them. So what we simply want to do is start over, work on a clean shaded paper, move through these issues step by step, and fix them and bring down health care costs and not raise them.
All right, Republicans say those scuffles have made Paul Ryan battle ready. Here now, Kirsten Powers, columnist for the Daily Beast and a Fox News contributor. Ford O'Connell joins us, chairman of the Civic Forum PAC and former outreach director for the McCain presidential campaign. Good to see you both. Kirsten, let me start with you. Few in the Republican Party can talk about fiscal issues with more comfort, with more depth and eloquence. Does the selection of Paul Ryan make it harder for the re-election campaign of Barack Obama?
No, I think in terms of political issues, this makes things a lot easier for them because they're basically going to talk about the Ryan budget. And yes, he's an articulate spokesperson for it. There's no question. If Romney wants to talk about this issue, he picked the right guy. No question. Yeah. The question is, why would he want to talk about the things that Paul Ryan has recommended? Because they're so politically toxic. Even if you look at not just his budget, but he was one of the people really pushing privatizing Social Security, and that was something that the Bush administration even ultimately rejected because they thought it was too politically toxic for them.
We're showing in Florida, St. Augustine, a live picture of Mitt Romney before a crowd of folks there campaigning today. But Ford, want to backtrack if I can. Speaking of budget matters in the economy, it's the #1 issue for most Americans this election. Here's Paul Ryan a little bit more than a year ago presenting his budget. Take a listen.
Instead of taking 20 cents out of every dollar made in America to pay for the federal government, my children will have to take 40 cents out of every dollar. That means double the tax burden. That means a diminished future. And the president is basically saying those people in Congress who want to keep this government size relative to where it has historically been, who want to keep it basically limited, are crazy.
Look, Ford, Ryan may energize the base, fiscal conservatives, Tea Partiers, but what about those all-important independent and swing voters? Does he attract them or alienate them?
Well, look at his congressional district. I mean, he is able to swing voters both sides of the aisle into his favor. But I think what the Ryan VP choice sends is a clear message to independents that Mitt Romney's serious about getting America's fiscal house in order and serious about putting Americans back to work. Really, the Romney-Ryan ticket is about big ideas in the future, and Paul Ryan is really going to have to draw on his keen knowledge of complex fiscal matters to articulate them in a cogent way. Kirsten's right. The Romney-Ryan ticket can't win the White House without winning Florida and Ohio, and a big key is going to be for them over the next 3 weeks to beat back these meta-scare tactics and these sort of ability to distort the Ryan budget. But if they can do that, they will be playing offense, and trust me, that's something President Obama dearly dreads.
You know, Kirsten, Ryan does have a very compelling personal history. He's a devoted deficit hawk. He's a vigorous advocate for, free markets, smaller government. How might he do against Joe Biden in the one and only vice presidential debate?
I think he's he's clearly a good person who's good at persuading, but I disagree that he has a great history as a deficit hawk. He actually voted for every single one of George Bush's budgets. This was something he sort of discovered after Barack Obama became president, and that's something he is going to have to answer for. I mean, he has helped add plenty to our deficit and plenty of out-of-control spending by the government. I do think what you raised is the most important thing, is how can he do with independence? And Third Way, a centrist think tank, had done polling on this issue, and what they found is independents want an all-of-the-above approach. That's not Paul Ryan's approach. Paul Ryan's approach is to have tax cuts, tax cuts, tax cuts. That's not what independents are looking for.
Ford, real quickly, because I'm out of time here, but is it possible that seniors and those nearing retirement in the all-important battleground states, especially in Florida and Ohio, are going to be wary of Paul Ryan's plans to modify or overhaul the entitlements, especially things like Social Security?
That's absolutely right, and that's exactly what the Ryan-Romney ticket have to worry about. See, what Kirsten's trying to do right now is to find Paul Ryan, and what Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan said, whatever plan we come up with does not affect those who are 55 and older. And if they drive home that message, Greg, they're going to be playing offense, and trust me, Joe Biden and Barack Obama are going to be scared and shaking in their boots.
Yeah, we all remember the grandma over the cliff. It was a Paul Ryan lookalike.
Times 10 is about to be
pushing
coming.
Grandma. Which, you know, look, the fact-check organizations, most of them took a look at that and said that was really, really unfair. But, all right, Kirsten Powers, Ford O'Connell, good to see you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
You think it's unfair to push Grandma over a cliff? I think it's
Well, it didn't affect grandmas.
nice thing to do.
Grandmas weren't affected by Paul Ryan's plans.
All right.